Hey guys, I know a lot of you use GoPro cameras either as your one and only camera or as a supplement to another main camera that you have. Now, we have a couple of friends over at GoPro.
We'll scroll it around to Trenton and Phil, the GoPro guys.
And we thought it could be a little bit fun to talk about the settings that they recommend over at GoPro when using their cameras for, serious productions. Now, we're going to start by talking a little bit about general camera settings, and then we're going to talk a little bit about picking the resolution. And I don't want this to sound like one of those teasers to have you watch the full video, like one of those I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw number 17 kind of stuff. But quite honestly, I did change my whole way of shooting with GoPro cameras after I learned some of these tips. So there's my teaser, because I want you to watch the full video. The first recommendation they had for us was to always shoot in what they called Pro Tune setting. Switching to Pro Tune will get you more control of your GoPro camera and more dynamic images if you work with them in post-production. But if you just grab the footage from the camera and use it directly without doing any color correction and stuff like that, it honestly looks pretty boring. And the colors look washed out compared to having Pro Tune turned off. But the point is that there's less compression, so the images will give professional users much more to work with and also give editors better ability to match it with footage from other cameras. Switching Pro Tune off looks a lot nicer, to be honest, out of the camera. But what is good about Pro Tune is that it gives a lot more options and possibilities when working in post-production. With Pro Tune turned on, we also get more control over other settings in the camera. For example, we can now set a ceiling for how high we allow the camera to bump up the ISO. By default, Pro Tune sets the ISO limit to 6400. This is really high and will give you grainy images, more than what could be accepted in a production. So GoPro recommended us to set ISO to 400. And yes, this will make it harder to shoot when it gets dark, but if you do that, I would recommend bringing an extra light instead. The other setting we were recommended to change was the sharpness. By default, it is set to high, meaning it will give you the same video sharpness as when Pro Tune is turned off. We were recommended to instead change it to low. The thing is that the sharpening is digital and basically something you can add and modify in post-production. Changing the sharpness to low will make the image look softer and not as sharp, but will again give you more control of the image in post-production. Now for picking the resolution, and this was really a big game changer for the way I shoot with the GoPro, especially for POV shots, point of view, or these selfie shots like I am doing right now. Here are the resolutions that you can choose from on a GoPro Hero 4. Here's Full HD, 1080p, and what we most often use to edit our videos. 4K is here, same proportions as 1080p, but double the dimensions. And 2.7K kind of in the middle, and 720p here. And here are the other resolutions you can pick from. Now these two are my new favorites. 1440p and 2.7K 4:3. See how they're much taller than your normal screen size? Alright, this is what a 1440 video file looks like if I drag and drop it into a 1080p project. You see that it's really square looking and it doesn't fill the frame, and if I try to stretch it out to fill the frame, I look really stretched out, and so does the rest of the image. But what is really cool about the 1440 video clip is that the width of the actual video clip is the same as a 1080p video clip. So what I can do is I can stretch it like this, and then I have all this information up and down that allows me to move the video file up and down to where I want it. But it feels a little bit like a waste if you're just cutting it like this, and you know that there's going to be more information above me and below me as well. And there is a way you can make use of the full frame without making me look completely stretched out. And this is called dynamic stretching. Basically, using a plugin, I can stretch the frame like this, and I'm still sort of the right proportions, and then I've only stretched the sides. See that? This is a great feature if you want to shoot sports, like for example skiing or mountain biking, where you want to see the ground but also a bit of the sky to get a feel for the scenery. 2.7K 4:3 allows you to do a similar thing but with even higher resolution. One thing to keep in mind, resolution and frame rate are somewhat related. The way and speed information is recorded onto the memory card can affect the image quality. The camera has sort of preferred combinations of resolution and frame rate. For POV shots, we were recommended shooting 1440 30 frames per second or 1440 60 frames per second if you want a little bit of slow-mo. These two will give you good material to work with in post-production and not fill up your memory card right away. But anytime you shoot a higher frame rate, you need to make sure that there's enough light. It is harder for the camera to process more images per second in low light. These cameras might be small, but they are really powerful, and they can even be used for full productions. I mean, that's what the people over at GoPro do with their channels. And I'm hoping that this video is going to give you some, new ideas on how to incorporate the GoPro footage into your productions. And as you know, we have a whole lot more videos on the channel for you guys to check out. If you like the channel, feel free to go ahead and subscribe. We have a lot more videos coming out. Thanks for watching, and see you in another video.